Hello and welcome to today's podcast. I'm Verity Welch, City of London Early Years Advisor, and today we'll be talking about children's speech, language and communication development and how the Verbo platform can support families, practitioners and early years settings. I'm delighted to be joined by three fantastic guests today. First, we have Holly Strickland. Holly is a speech and language therapist working with children, families and early years settings to support speech, language and communication development. We're also joined by Deirdre Staunton. Deirdre is a speech and language therapist working with children and families and supports early intervention and communication development across the service. And finally, we have Isabelle Denniee. Isabelle works closely with nurseries and early years professionals to support high quality early years practice and child development across the City of London. Thank you all so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Deirdre, let's start at the beginning. What is Verbo and how does it work?
So Verbo is an online platform. It's designed to support children's speech, language and communication development. And it provides screening tools, video modelling of practical activities, and ready-made resources for early years practitioners, schools and families. There are also pre-recorded training webinars on a number of different topics on Verbo and learning environment checklists for settings. And I think it's a good question. So how does it work? The idea behind Verbo is early identification and early support. It aims to help adults recognise when a child may need some additional help with their communication. It helps staff break down where the difficulty might be happening for a child, and it provides strategies that can be used every day through play, routines and conversations. It's designed to be practical, accessible and easy to use to help practitioners and families feel more confident in supporting children's communication development.
And Holly, how does Verbo work alongside a local speech and language therapist?
So Verbo works really well alongside speech and language therapy services because it's intended to help practitioners provide support at a universal and targeted level. So that's universal, which is benefiting all children's communication development, and targeted, which is benefiting some children who need extra support. As speech and language therapists, we often don't have capacity to provide support at these levels as our time is spent with the smaller number of children who need specialist input. And even for those children who will need specialist support, there can be long waits for assessment and advice. So practitioners can use Verbo for ideas of strategies and activities to put in place whilst they're waiting. It can help practitioners to feel more confident in understanding children's needs and knowing what supportive strategies they can put in place straight away. Local speech and language therapists can also signpost practitioners to resources on Verbo to support specific children's therapy programmes, which families can then also access, which helps create consistency between home, nursery and therapy support. It means that children are getting regular support in their everyday environments, which is really important for communication development.
So we don't always have direct access to a speech and language therapist in every setting. Can Verbo be used instead?
So Verbo is a useful support tool, especially for early identification and everyday strategies, but it doesn't replace a qualified speech and language therapist. So if practitioners have concerns about a child's speech, language or communication, they should still follow their local referral pathways and seek specialist advice where needed. What Verbo can do is provide immediate support and practical ideas while concerns are being monitored or while waiting for that specialist input. Verbo is also a really good place for practitioners to access training for themselves to help increase their knowledge and confidence around supporting communication development.
And Deirdre, can parents and carers access the resources on the platform too?
Yes, absolutely. Supporting communication, we know, works best when everyone around the child is involved. Parents and carers can use simple activities and strategies from Verbo during everyday routines, such as bath time, meal time, story time, or play. These small interactions throughout the day can make a really big difference to children's language development. The platform is designed to be used in schooler settings, but once your setting is using it, a parent or carer can request that they are set up with a parent login, and they can then see some suggested ways they can support their child at home.
And what about the Verbo screener? Is that the same as a speech and language therapy assessment?
No, the screener is not the same as a full assessment carried out by a speech and language therapist. The screener is designed to identify children who may need additional support or who may benefit from further assessment. It's an early identification tool rather than a diagnosis. A speech and language therapy assessment is much more detailed and looks at a child's communication skills, understanding, interaction, and overall development in greater depth.
Isabelle, if I'm concerned about my child's speech and language development, what should I do?
Well, I'd always encourage parents not to wait if they have concern. The first step is usually to talk to your child's nursery, for example, their key person, your health visitor, or your GP. Often early years practitioner can share observations and suggest supportive strategies that they can try at home or in the setting. Early support can make a huge difference, and sometimes children simply need a little extra help and opportunity to develop their communication skills.
And how will I know if my child may have a speech and language delay?
Well, some signs parents may notice include children using fewer words than expected for their age, or difficulty understanding simple instruction, unclear speech, frustration when communicating, or difficulty interacting with their peers. However, all children develop at different rates, so it's important not to panic. What matters most is noticing whether progress is continuing over time. If concerns remain, speaking to a professional early can help ensure children get the right support as soon as possible.
And finally, Holly, does Verbo mean settings no longer need to make online referrals for children they're concerned about?
No, settings should absolutely continue to follow their usual referral processes where appropriate. So Verbo's there to support early identification and intervention, but it doesn't replace those specialist assessment pathways. But using Verbo alongside referrals can actually strengthen support for the child because practitioners are already putting communication strategies in place while they're waiting for further advice or assessment. Also, when making referrals, practitioners can use the screener results and records of targeted support on Verbo as evidence to support that referral, showing the outcome of plan do review cycles and what support has already been put in place.
Thank you so much, Holly, Deirdre and Isabelle, for joining us today and sharing your expertise. And thank you to everyone listening. We hope today's conversation has helped to answer some common questions around children's speech, language and communication development and how platforms like Verbo can support children, families and practitioners. Until next time, goodbye.